Hello, my name is Jack Culbreth and I'm a faculty member here at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, in the College of Education in the Counseling Department. And I wanted to take a moment and tell you about my experiences with a particular teacher in my life, someone who was very significant and had a very large impact on who I became in my life. His name was Mr. John Smith. He was my math teacher and he was my basketball coach in the 7th and 8th grade. We had combined classes at that point, and this was at Hardin Park Elementary School in Boone, North Carolina. And so we had the 7th and 8th grade classes together. He also was my basketball coach, as I mentioned, and in fact, given that I was completely uncoordinated at the time, the fact that he actually had me on the team, I was as far below third string as you can imagine. I scored one basket in 2 years with a 1 point per year average, and yet I was still on the team. And he made a point to have me on that team, which was a very, very strong statement for him in what he was doing for me. But in math class, that was where he had the most influence. I was struggling in that math class for both years, in large part because I had a good case of attention deficit and struggled with remaining focused on the independent math units that we were supposed to be working on individually. And so I was consistently behind and consistently never doing what I was capable of doing. Towards the end of my 8th grade year, Mr. Smith decided to actually take a group of high achieving students in that class and me out and actually do some group instruction where he was working on equations. It was called the equations group, which was basically pre-algebra. And that was the first time I had experienced actually being challenged and having to work hard in my math class. And as a result, I did work hard. It changed the nature of my high school experience. All of the classes that I did the best in were the hardest classes that I was enrolled in, and it also changed how I looked at college and then beyond college, graduate school. And I would say at this point in my life that is one of the most influential experiences of my life in terms of what he did for me. He lit a fire underneath me at that point, and things just went well after that. Not that it wasn't hard work, but it was work where I started to see some positive results. I've had to do papers in my graduate program on family counseling and my family experience in my life. And when I did that as a master's student back when I was 25 years old, I actually identified my experience with Mr. Smith as one of the single most influential points in my life. My parents were divorced. My father was not present for a lot of that time, and what ended up happening, Mr. Smith stepped in for this 7th and 8th grade boy who needed a man to step in and help. And it was very significant, and I will never forget it. And I know that he probably thought he was just being a teacher and just doing his job, but he did a whole lot more than his job, at least for this person. For me, it was greatly appreciated, and I'll never forget it. And I tell that story. I've told my son about it, and I'm very proud to have been part of Mr. Smith's class, and therefore I'm happy to be honoring him with my recognition of his contribution to my life through the College of Education. So thank you, Mr. Smith.